Hi, this is Kara, Close to My Heart Consultant, and I will now be doing a scrapbook page using the Workshops on the Go Scrapbooking Guide, Skylark. So I'll be using this page right here as my sample for the scrapbook that I'm going to make. But I'm going to change it up just slightly to meet my needs, but basically this will be the design that I'm going to use. So first I have my page that came with the kit. It's one of the My Reflections pages. These are double-sided scrapbook pages. And then they did a layering effect on their background. So the first color is this blue, this teal blue. And this is actually, let's see if I can, it says what color it is. I'll let you know later. I'll have to look up exactly which color that is. So I'll measure it up. They have these great little grid lines on this particular page, so you can measure up where you want it to go. And then just trim your paper. Now, Close to My Heart does come with different tools, but I'm just going to use a 12-inch trimmer that I have to trim my page. So I'll just line it up in here of where I will want it to be trimmed. You can always adjust based off of how you want it to look. Maybe you want more or less trimmed off for your own scrapbook page. So you'll just line it up in your trimmer. And that is one side. And then I'll just measure up how I want the other side to be trimmed. I think I'll do it right on the, looks like it's like the fourth or fifth line down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you go on a line, I'm trimming right at the 6th line if you happen to have this kit. That's where I will be doing. You can also measure it out in advance if that's easier for you. I'm just lining it up against my actual scrapbook page. And then make sure it's lined up correctly. Every trimmer is different, so on this one you just line it up there. And then I'll just go across, and now I have that part trimmed. So then that will go like this. And Close to My Heart also has a lot of great adhesives, but I don't have them all right now. I actually ran out of my tape runner, so I'm just going to be using some double-sided tape to start with. So I have to get my tape out. For layering cardstock, I don't like to use glue. I like to use tape. Usually my tape runner is my preferred, but sometimes I will use double-sided tape or scrapbook tape as well. So I'll just line this along the edges, and you don't need to put it all over your cardstock, just along the edges is usually fine. You might sometimes want to put it in the middle, but it's not necessary. This is pretty strong tape, so it'll hold up very well. Okay, then I have this cut, so I'll line it up to where I wanted it to go again. Line it up to the edges. And we have our first cardstock layer. Then the next layer is another one of the My Reflection sheets. This is again a double-sided sheet. So you can see there's a pattern on one side and they have the diagonal pattern on the other side. Now for this sample they used this flowered pattern and they look like they just did it maybe a centimeter, very small amount space above it, so that teal color is our border, and now this is going to be the main scrapbook area. So now we'll just trim off again, and if you have a ruler, that would probably be the best way to measure it. So I have like this little ruler here. Last time I just kind of guessed, but it looks like it's about 1.5 inches. So that's what I'm going to do this time. I'm just going to go over 1.5 inches, and that's where I'll do my cut. So I'll line it up here. That will give you a more precise way of getting your edges to line up. Okay, so that was for one side that I was measuring. And then I think it should be about the same. So I'm going to take another 1.5 inch off the other side. And again, you can find all the tools that you need on the Close to My Heart website, or you can contact me and I can let you know which tools we have that you may be interested in using for your scrapbook collection. This one right here is a My Reflections 12-inch one that I got from Michaels. I really like using the smaller trimmers, but for the 12 by 12 cardstock pages, you really need to have a 12-inch one, otherwise it just makes it really difficult to work with. So I actually didn't do quite enough that I was originally wanting, so I'm just going to trim off a little more from each of the sides. And I'll take about 1 inch over here. And let's see how that is. And I think that's good. So then I'll just put the double-sided tape on the back of this one. And make sure you keep the pieces that you trimmed off for now, because you can use them for the little borders throughout the page. Like on this one, you can see they have a flourish border of 3 different pieces of cardstock. So you can just use the little trimmings that you did for that. So then I just line it up and press down. Okay, so then they have the pictures. I will be using pictures. This is from a calendar actually. It's a picture of Salmona, Italy, where my dad was born. And I'm going to use these two pictures of my dad's cemetery that I visited. It's in Italy, so I've only gotten to visit it once. So it was a very special moment for me when I got to go there. So my scrapbook page will be dedicated to that. So I'm going to put these pictures here. And then they have this green cardstock is what we'll use for the edges, the border of our pictures. Now your pictures could be all varying sizes, so you'll want to, there's different things that you can do, different ways you can do this. You can put your pictures on right on your cardstock and then trim it, or you can trim your cardstock and then add the pictures, just however you'd like to. I'm actually going to put my pictures on first, and then I'll trim it up based off of how I want my pictures to look on the cardstock. So again, I'm just going to use my double-sided tape right now. I think that works the best for when I'm layering anything. And I'm just going to line it up against the cardstock. And I'm going to do that with each of my pictures. You might have your own technique of doing this. This is just how I like to do it. Now you can use a variety of things on pictures. So sometimes I'll add like a foam adhesive to give it more dimension. But I think I might do that on the actual cardstock. So I'm just going to stick the tape on to make it nice and attached to the cardstock. Again, this is double-sided tape that I'm using. Tape runner is my favorite to use, but I ran out, so I just picked up some Scotch double-sided tape while I was picking up pictures at Walgreens. So just going to line these up. And then you can, so I have them just on my cardstock page. And now I'm going to trim the cardstock. And again, I'm going to keep all these little border pieces for now. I might want to use them later for another project or something. Now you can either measure or just kind of guess. It's really up to you. I'm just kind of making like a guesstimate of where. If you want to, if you're a perfectionist, maybe you can measure it out. I just guess what I think looks nice. Sometimes I like a little bit of flaw in my scrapbooks. Like I don't always have to have everything exactly lined up or straight, just because I think it adds a little bit of character. But it depends on the scrapbook that I'm working on. Sometimes I want it to be exactly perfect, but then it's better to measure it out. And now my last one. I'm also getting used to this particular brand of trimmer because it's different than my other ones. So now that I have my pictures, it's up to you how you want to do them. They'll attach to the cardstock. You can either leave them how they are as a square, or you can punch them